I think one of the reasons so many people are so worried about re-election is because this has become their identity. I think it's the same reason a lot of guys struggle when they get out of special forces or the SEAL teams or the NFL, because it's become their identity. It's who they believe they are. And I think anytime you put your identity in something that can be taken from you, you're in trouble. And that's why, for me, man, I always try and come back to, what is my identity, man? And I'm an image bearer of God, man. You know, I'm a son of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And that's what I try and put my identity in. I'm an American. I love my country. You know, those are things that, those are things that are more foundational. Even some of those things can be, taken from you. But anytime you put your identity in something that can be taken from you, you're in trouble. And I think a lot of these people, they've never done anything really cool in their life or anything that they're super proud of. Some of them have, but, I think some of them get caught up in the, oh, I'm a congressman, or, oh, I'm a senator. And, they don't want to lose it. They don't want to go back to just being a, regular old civilian.
And they'll compromise everything they got.
And I think that's what our founders wanted. I think our founders wanted us to go, into public service and then, go back home and go back to whatever you were doing beforehand and not become a career politician.
You know what the worst?
Tim, you brought a great point up when you invited me, thank you, by the way, to the State of the Union. You had mentioned, at some point, none of these congressmen go back to their districts. They all hang out here like it's a fucking club, and they're not worried about what their voters want. They just want to be in the social club. And that really resonated with me, and I started paying attention. And
Eli's 100%. Once again, it is the identity. When I was in the state legislature, I remember guys would leave, and then within 6 months, they'd be back up there. I mean, people become sergeant at arms because they just couldn't leave that. And I remember one time a buddy of mine called. He called a lobbyist. I knew his name was David McMahon, and he said, "David, I lost." And he said, "What?" He said, "I lost." And he goes, "Who is this?" And he told him who he was. And he says, "I've never heard of you." And he was joking, but the reality is and David was friends with the guy till he died. But the reality is that you don't, you got to realize that this is. Everybody's likes you up there. Hopefully they like you for the person you are, but you have to sometime realize that it's what you can do for them. And then when you can't do that for them, and I always talk about how if I go back home after the election, I said, I'll probably be mowing a lot of these people's yards. That's how I'll know them. And that'll be the relationship, because I won't be their congressman. And I think too many of them don't realize that, and that's why you see them, they slip into depression, alcoholism, and everything else after military, or NFL or what have you, professional sports, or the spotlight that we're in, because nobody, unless you're a consultant or something, and that's part of the crooked nature of it. But yeah.